So the purpose of this video is to show you how to use our online academies portal for grammar. And the company called LearnClick provides this service to ScholarSkills as a platform where we can use the material, the proprietary material that we have created to help thousands of students. So you want to go to learnclick.com. Here it is here in your browser, learnclick.com. Once you type that in, a username and password interface will come up. You want to check your email or your phone to see what your child's username and password are. In this case, we'll use Jane Doe. Okay, we'll click here and we'll have Jane Doe, and passwords are usually the first name of your child and last name together. And we'll go here and we'll type in the password that Jane Doe has. And there's Jane Doe's password. And we're going to log in. And I'm going to save that right now. So there we are. It'll say welcome Jane Doe, or in this case it'll say welcome whatever the name of your son or daughter is. Okay, and you'll see the various classes or lessons rather in the grammar class. We want to begin here. Unless told otherwise, begin with lesson A, subjects, predicates, and sentences. This is the first lesson in grammar, and it structures the student's understanding of the most basic elements of the sentence. So you're going to click on lesson A, and you'll see 3 categories. We'll scroll up from that, and you'll see category lesson A, subjects, predicates, and sentences. So at least 2 or 3 times a week, you want your child to go to this particular portal and work his or her way through the entire section, or as advised by their academic coach. So some coaches will give lesson plans or homework based on where that child is. But most of our students begin here, lesson A1, and I'll click on that and give you a sense of how that works. So lesson A1, is it a sentence? And you'll see a brief video. Okay, this is our own video. You click on that. So we're talking about sentences. Right. And if your child was in our learning center that day and began, they would have done this first question, what is a sentence? So after watching this 5-minute video, 5.5 minutes or so, then we want the student to scroll down and begin to answer the questions. And these are drop downs, so they're pretty easy. So in case they can't type well or have difficulty using a touch device, this is an easier way to do it. So for example, the directions here say tell whether each group of words makes a sentence. If it is a sentence, say yes. If not, say no. And it reminds them of what they've learned and helps them to practice it. So let's try this one. Jason was in the back of the line. We'll say yes, that's a sentence. The Giants won the Super Bowl. Yes, that's a sentence. Ate the hamburger. No, because it's a fragment. He always stands alone. Yes, it's a sentence. Fought with King Arthur. No, that's not a sentence. Doesn't know how to swim. No, that's not a sentence. It lacks a subject. Caught in the act of stealing the cookies. No, not a sentence because, again, it lacks a subject. Some people love seafood. Yes, subject and predicate. I don't believe that George Washington ever chopped down that cherry tree. Yes, that's a sentence. Likes Kansas City. No, it's not a sentence. You see, because it lacks a subject. So we'll click there, and then the student will click check answers. Scroll down again, and you'll see all the greens show that that answer was correct. That quiz is done 100%. Kids love seeing that 100%. But let's just say, let's go back for a second and say perhaps they've gotten something wrong, okay? Let's just click here. We'll say yes. We'll say yes. We'll say ate the hamburger. We'll say yes here, even though we know it's wrong, okay? So yes here. We'll say no here, and we'll try to get the rest of them correct, okay? We'll try to get like one wrong here. No, and some people love seafood. Yes, that's a sentence. I don't believe that George ever chopped down that cherry tree. That is Mr. Washington. We'll say yes. Likes Kansas City, and we'll say no. All right, so let's check our answers now. And what happens is you see this red indicating that this was answered incorrectly. So the score was 90%. Well, the student can then go back to the main page, okay, and click on subjects and predicates again, or can even hit the back button, okay, hit is it a sentence? They can review the video, and they can retake the quiz. You see? So they can retake the quiz and mindfully and try to get 100. Or they can hit the back button and retake the quiz as it is, okay, and try to fix that. But I'd rather them go back over it and check again to make sure that they're understanding. Well, that's how it works. Now, if I go back to the main page once again, I will see all of the lessons attached to this particular topic. Then when they're finished lesson A, this topic, and all the categories, and by the way, if I click on this, you will see that it's very extensive. Lesson A1, A2, A3, then subject lesson B1. So this whole category of subjects and predicates and sentences has many lessons, predicates, lesson D, all the way to lesson D4 and the review. See how deep it is and how much practice the children will have. If I go back now and I say, okay, you're finished with subjects, predicates, and sentences. Hey, let's see how well you know nouns. And we move to nouns, and they learn about nouns at the Learning Center. So guess what? They click on lesson 1 about nouns, and there's an idea about nouns. They go back, lesson 2, finding the nouns, okay? And they'll click there, okay, and have that done. Lesson A3, okay? And here's a video about what nouns are. See? Okay? So again, there's so many ways for them to interact. Okay, I'm going to go back out of here, and we'll take a look at pronouns, and then you'll see verbs. And for each of these categories, there's a detailed set of quizzes, or rather practice quizzes, that they can take until they have completely mastered all of the parts of speech and the structures of sentences, which is the foundation for reading comprehension and for writing. Once they have completed this coursework, they will know how to structure sentences and how to interpret and analyze those structures when they read. It's wonderful. So 2 or 3 times a week, move down the list, or as your academic coach tells you, or the homework assignment given, and then you'll just make sure that child keeps going until they get 100 on each of the quizzes, okay? Any questions, you feel free to email me, call me, whatever. I'd love to talk to you. All right. See you on the next side of excellence.